kickoff from Paul Osbaldiston. This is Kirby Warren. Warren, a little opening to the outside and gets to the 34-yard line.
Osbaldiston's kickoff is taken by Kirby Warren.
Brought down by Frank Robinson, 43 for the Tiger Cats.
Frank Robinson on the tackle.
24-yard return after a 65-yard kickoff for Osbaldiston. And there's the starting quarterback for Calgary, Rick Warman. Has one win. First win of the season for the Stampeders against the Rough Riders in Saskatchewan.
Talked about Larry Willis, too, and his presence in that lineup today. He had that big touchdown when they beat the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Rick Warman, of course, the quarterback that threw it. I think they're fortunate to have him. He's a pretty good replacement for their starter, Rick Johnson.
Opening play. They keep it along the ground. That's Gary Allen. A gain of 5. And the Tiger Cats think they might have recovered the football. They have. Warren lost the ball in a pileup near the 40-yard line, and it is Frank Robinson coming up with the ball. What happened?
Well, a pretty simple play. Handoff to Gary Allen. He follows Kirby Warren up the middle, and he's hit. And by Frank, number 27, Paul Bennett, comes up from the safety spot. And obviously the ball came loose. You can't see it on the replay, but nevertheless, the Ticats do have it. And great. Well, no, wait a second. One official signaled that the Ticats had the football. Now they've changed their mind and made it second. You figure this one out.
But it's crazy because the Tiger Cat offense was out on the field. You saw Mike Kerrigan.
Well, there's no question, John. The official signaled that Hamilton had recovered the football, and all the players left the field. Nice way to start. 2nd and 5, I guess.
Well, the Stampeders get a break. They retain possession of the football, and it'll be 2nd and 5 from their own 40. Warman back to throw. Trapped. Leading the way, Mike Walker, number 61.
Mike Walker.
So Calgary losing a couple on 2nd and 5.
That offensive line has given up 49 sacks so far this season, and Calgary Stampeders, for the most part, in 1987, quarterbacks have been running for their life. And that time, once again, good pressure. That Hamilton front four is an excellent veteran group, and I think Calgary's going to have some difficulty this afternoon with them.
Glenn Harper across the 25, almost blocked. Short kick. Takes a good bounce for the Stampeders. And at the far side, it's finally picked up by Kerry Parker. A little confusion on the Tiger Cats' part. A 2-yard return, a 39-yard kick. It wasn't a great one for Harper, but he got a bit of a bounce.
He sure did. You know, it was not much of a wind blowing today at all, but it looked as though that punt really hung up there. You see Mike Kerrigan, and he had just a super week last week against the Argonauts in their loss. 25 of 41, 3 touchdown passes in that game. So he gets the start today over Tom Porras.
Here's Johnny Jones and Dan Huckluck in the backfield. Wide receivers Champion and Stapler. That's Huckluck. Interesting story on Dan Huckluck. He has surprised in this season. Going into the area, 236 yards. In 8 years in the CFL. This year, 87. He's already picked up 255.
Yeah, he's way past his all-time totals in one season. And what a break for him getting to the Tiger Cats, because they really needed him when Dave Grabby broke the leg, and he's played well.
2nd and 8. Kerrigan has a man open, and a first down at the 50.
Kerrigan's pass is incomplete.
No catch. Thought Stapler had it, but he couldn't hang on. So Osbaldiston with his first kick of the game, standing at the 22. Rolling at the 30. And picked up by Richie Hall. Hall out across the 40 to the 43.
By Richie Hall.
Terry Laney leading the tacklers for the Tiger Cats at Ivor Wynne Stadium. It is early in the first quarter, and no scoring so far. First quarter, Stampeders and the Tiger Cats.
Number 2-3.
And some young Tiger Cat supporters in the stands this afternoon. There's Tony Pearson out of the University of Alberta, hoping to continue in the tradition of some greats. Golden Bear receivers that made it to the CFL: Joe Poplaski, Brian Fryer, Marco Sincar.
You know, John, he was a 6th-round draft choice in the 1987, and a lot of times you're not counting on getting too much in the 6th round. It's more or less, let's make a selection and have an extra body at training camp. But Tony Pearson's come along, and with playing 2 imports in the backfield, Kirby Warren and Gary Allen, they have to play a Canadian outside, and Tony Pearson's the guy that fits the bill. He runs the 40 and 4.5, so we know he's got the speed. Now, whether he can catch the football is another story. Has not had a catch yet in 1987.
Larry Kuharek, 3 wins in 4 starts as the head coach of the Stampeders.
Yeah, he has added some enthusiasm to this team, John.
No question.
It's a different ball club that was playing around the midpoint of the season.
New spirit both sides of the ball. First down, Stampeders. Tough running inside across the 45. Kirby Warren, number 25. Warren wears 25. Gary Allen, 23. 2 import running backs coming out of the backfield.
John, you know, this is an interesting matchup. Calgary Stampeders come into this game rushing the football the best of any club in the Canadian Football League. But on the other hand, Hamilton only gives up 70 yards rushing a game on defense. Good matchup to watch.
Stingiest defense against the run. And a big catch for the Stampeders. Larry Willis lost the football. Who's got it? The Tiger Cats have recovered. Willis made the catch and then had trouble controlling the football. It has been an interesting afternoon so far. Yanavakis recovering that fumble, and this time the Tiger Cats will hold on to the football.
I'll give Yanavakis a lot of credit. You know, he's playing that outside linebacking spot. This is a long bomb to Larry Willis. He makes a great catch.
How does he drop it, though, Lee?
Well, he gets up and starts to run with it, and I don't know
Good
how
catch.
he drops it. Sure, it's a great catch, but give Yanavakis credit, too. He hustled all the way downfield and will make the recovery.
Kerrigan on 1st and 10. Johnny Jones, number 24, gets to the 30. Met there by Bernie Morrison, 72, the Stampeder middle linebacker.
Johnny Jones comes into this game. He's only caught the ball 7 times for the Ticats this year, but he averages over 14 yards a catch, so I'm sure you're going to see him on a screen like that or give him the ball on a little swing pass.
On 2nd and 7, Kerrigan to the far side has a first down. Tony Champion stepping out of bounds just inside Stampeder territory at the 54. 25-yard pickup.
Well, John, you look at this receiving core, and with the return of Tony Champion, it's really tightened this receiving core up. You've got Rocky DiPietro, who's a Shenley Award winner and an all-Canadian, all-everything. And now you have Earl Winfield, who was hurt. He's back in the lineup, and he plays at the slot back. Steve Stapler outside, who's having a super year. You're talking about a great receiving core here.
Stapler 3rd in the CFL, Champion in his 7th game of the season. And not much room for Johnny Jones. As a ball carrier coming into this game, Jones had carried 6 times for 15 yards, a 1.5-yard average in his first start. That's been a problem area for the Stampeders at running back this year. They've almost had a revolving door back there.
They sure have, and of course losing Tim Petros isn't going to help.
Wide open. Champion once more. Inside the 25. A 29-yard catch. So Champion with 1 for 25 and 1 for 29.
Well, they use a little motion to get a matchup they want. Richie Hall on Tony Champion. He runs a post corner, takes Hall to the inside, back out to the outside, and Richie Hall cannot stay with Tony Champion. Back-to-back catches for Tony, and oh, he's off to a nice start. 11 catches for 200 yards against the Argonauts a couple of weeks ago, or last week.
Ticats lost that one by 10. DiPietro's first catch inside the 10. Another Ticat first down. Stopped by Ron Hopkins. A gain of 15.
That's a good play. Just Mike Kerrigan reads that linebacker. As soon as he blitzes, DiPietro looks inside, and Bernie Morrison and Greg Peterson can not get over in time to make the play. And Well, that's an excellent read by an excellent veteran quarterback, Mike Kerrigan. Remember, he took them to the Grey Cup last year. He's back in. I think it's a good move.
And he won it.
Yeah.
He had a great day in Vancouver. On first down, Kerrigan looks to the end zone. It's picked out. Stampeders. Chris Major. And Major running room to the 30. Make it the 33. Major in his CFL debut replacing the injured David McCrary. And he saves a touchdown for the Calgary Stampeders. Good return because he gives Calgary field position as well.
Well, that's a great play by Chris Major, but you know, I wonder about Mike Kerrigan. He was looking to the post all the way, and instead of really drilling this ball, he kind of feathered it in, and Chris Major didn't have to make that great a play, but he sure makes a timely one as the Ticats were driving for some points.
There's the turnover count. 2 already, but it's even. It has been a problem for the Stampeders all season long. The Tiger Cats have had difficulties with the turnover lately. Kirby Warren has nowhere to go.
On the ball carrier. Walker made the tackle.
Let's go back and have a look at that interception by Chris Major. There you see him on the bench in his first CFL game with the Stampeders. And Mike Kerrigan really kind of floats this post pattern. This is the kind of ball you got to drill in there. He steps in front of Steve Stapler, and that's a big play.
Stampeders lose a yard. This is 2nd and 11, Calgary at the 31. Warman over the middle has a first down as Allen finds the 55 and more. Gary Allen still has running room to the 40 and forced out at the 37-yard line by Frank Robinson, number 43. Big play for the Stamps. First big one of the afternoon.
Well, this is a matchup they'd like to get to. They came with the blitz. Gadavakis blitzes now. Leo Ezrin's number 72, the middle linebacker, has to take Gary Allen one-on-one. Gary Allen gives him a little fake to the outside, then cuts back over the middle, and Leo Ezrin's just does not have the speed to stay with him, and Allen out in the open field is dangerous. Now you've had a nice series of plays here with Chris Major's interception. Now the Stampeder offense taking charge with a good play by Gary Allen.
A 42-yard pickup. The Stampeders with a first down at the Tiger Cat 37. Warman looks deep. Almost. Pearson. Coverage supplied by Les Brown. And that first CFL catch still eludes Tony Pearson.
Oh, it would have been nice to have your first one like that, wouldn't it? Because, you know, Les Brown's been an all-star, all-Canadian cornerback, led the league one year. And
he had a beat, actually.
He's a tough guy to run a post pattern on, and Tony Pearson snuck inside. Perfect throw, but couldn't come up with it.
2nd and 10, Stampeders, no score. Early in the first quarter. Warman time to throw. And Kirby Warren didn't turn around.
Penalty marker on the play.
There is a flag down. So the Stampeders may get a bit of a break here. Les Brown is out on that corner.
Hold on 15. First down.
Interference.
Well, here's a look at maybe what was called, and of course Les Brown,
That's not legal, is it, Leaf?
Well, no, I don't think so. Last time I checked, just to the left of your screen, we've lost him for a sec. It's Rick Johnson. He's, of course, on the injured list, but they still have him coming and making the trip, trying to help out if he can.
It is a first down for the Stampeders on the interference call against Les Brown. Gary Allen. Good yardage and tough running inside.
That's the second time Paul Bennett's had to come up and make a supporting tackle, and I think Hamilton really feared this might happen. Anytime you have two imports in the backfield like Kirby Warren and Gary Allen, you can expect that they're going to see the football quite a bit, whether it's running or swing passing and screening. And if they get through there already, Paul Bennett's had to make 2 stops. You don't want your safety making all the tackles.
2nd down and 2 to go. Stampeders inside the Tiger Cat 20-yard line. And Warren carried that time. Could be close. Stopped by Rod Skillman, number 59. They'll measure this one. Tiger Cats looking to snap a 2-game losing streak after last week's 10-point loss to the Argonauts. Just short.
You see Larry Willis there. He's really upset at somebody. Maybe it's still Les Brown for the treatment he received.
Got a first down out of that, though.
Well, that's the thing about Calgary. The last 5 games, of course, we've talked about how they've won 4 of those 5. They've played with so much more enthusiasm, and to be able to take an interception and just when it looked as though Hamilton was going to score some kind of points, to take this interception and go right down the field would really be a boost for their confidence.
Stampeders go gambling. Second down or third down, less than a yard. No doubt about it. No flags are down. Kirby Warren has the first down for Calgary. Stopped by Bennett once more. Howard Fields was also there, number 16.
Well, I like Larry Kaharick's style. There you see him there. He's young, he's enthusiastic, and it certainly rubbed off on his players.
Counter play. It works well for Gary Allen. Leo Ezerins at middle linebacker to make the stop, but Allen has another first down for the Stampeders, and he's inside the 3.
Well, they run a draw to Gary Allen. Good blocking up front, and Leo Ezerins is playing his first game as a Ticat in the middle, and really could not react and get up in the hole quick enough to stop that. And boy, you have to be impressed with the drive that Calgary's put together.
Scoreless in the first quarter. Stampeders threaten to change that here with a first down. Goal to go from the 2. The handoff is to Allen. And he's stopped short, I believe. I haven't seen a referee signal touchdown, although a couple of Stampeders did so.
Well, John, the area that was really a sore spot for the Stampeders early in the year was that offensive line, and more for the pass blocking than anything else. But in the last 5 games, they've done a great job blocking for the run, and although they don't get into the end zone there, on this particular
they were very close.
They've opened up some pretty good holes for Gary Allen and Kirby Warren.
2 more tries then from the 1. Second and goal, Stampeders at the 1. And it's easy for Warman. Touchdown. Good call. Rick Warman carries it in himself, and the Stampeders score first. He had them fooled.
That's a tough play for anybody to make except maybe the outside linebacker. And Ed Gadavakis was on that outside, and he just collapsed down with the fake to Gary Allen, and Rick Warman just walked into the end zone. Nice play. You know, sometimes the quarterback won't even tell a running back that he's going to do that, or the offensive line, so they make that running fake look so realistic that everybody bites on it, and that's what happened to Gadavakis.
It worked perfectly that time.
Well, they cap off the interception with a touchdown. That's the way to do it. Take advantage of the mistake if you can, and that's a long mistake. They won 110 yards from that interception.
J.T. Hay has not missed a convert in 10 years in Canadian football. That's his 328th in a row. And the Calgary Stampeders jump out in front of the Hamilton Tiger Cats by a touchdown in the first. Uniform replacing Bernie Ruoff. We asked him prior to the game if the NFL situation had anything to do with his return today.
Well, it did. I waited a couple of extra days with the strike situation. I could have gone down, but I wanted to play my football here in Hamilton, and things worked out the way I did. And I signed yesterday, and I'm really happy to be back.
How is the punting coming along?
Real well. It's improved a lot. It improved last year before I came back to camp with Hamilton, and it's improved again since I've come back. So I had a good 2 weeks, and hopefully that'll happen again today.
Back for the Stampeder kickoff. Calgary out in front, 7-0. J.T. Hay will kick to Earl Winfield or Johnny Jones.
You know, John, I said that was a 110-yard drive, and it was.
It was.
It seemed like it because the interception was made right on the goal line. So, in my mind, it was a 110-yard drive.
They'll mark it down as a 78-yard scoring drive, but in effect, the Stampeders marched it right from the goal line. And the time of possession on this is rather key as well. Calgary controlled the football for almost 5 minutes. 4 minutes, 47 seconds. 9 plays to cover 78 yards. And Warman made the touchdown look easy.
He really did. And some nice play calling on that drive, too. A draw play to Gary Allen, and then they got a match up with that little move over the middle on the pass play to Gary Allen.
And they got a bit of a break on the interference call against Les Brown because that was not really in the play.
Yeah, that's all part of it. You know, when you make a team drive that distance to score some points, you're making them work for it, and Calgary really looked good on that drive.
Injured Stampeder is Ron Hopkins.
Well, they can't have him out of there. He's their best defensive back as far as I'm concerned. That means Larry Hogue moves out to the corner, and Darcy Kopp, number 32, will come into the middle.
First down, Tiger Cats. Kerrigan floats one, and nowhere near the intended receiver, Rocky DiPietro.
Just look, that ball slipped out of his hand, John, because Mike Kerrigan's much better passer than that throw. And he had Rocky open, and no reason why he should overthrow that one.
Kerrigan has not seen a whole bunch of duty in 1987. Injuries have been a problem. 3 interceptions, 3 touchdowns on the year. He's only passed for 568 yards on 2nd and 10. He'll throw again, and this time he has a completion to Johnny Jones, number 24, but Jones comes up short of the first down.
Well, nice job by Bruce Green, number 38, the outside linebacker. He read it perfectly, and you know what? He's played well in the last few games, and Kerrigan has to dump it off to Johnny Jones, and then Bruce Green and Richie Hall are right there to make sure he goes no further. No, this is an important game for the Ticats. They have a chance to move into second place past the idle Toronto Argonauts, and with the way the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are playing, I think Hamilton and Toronto have to start looking now at who can finish second to get that home field advantage for the playoffs.
Osbaldiston gets it down to the 26-yard line. And Hall has about 4 yards on the return. It is the Stampeders in front of the Tiger Cats by a touchdown with 3:19 to go in quarter one. At Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton, TSN's Game of the Week featuring the Stampeders in front by 7 on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Rick Warman, the starter for Calgary this afternoon, has not started a whole bunch this season, but doesn't feel the Stampeders offense changes that much under his direction.
Well, John, I don't believe it changes very much at all. We're going to use the same type of game plan. The only thing different between Rick Johnson and me is maybe I move around a little bit more out there, whereas he might throw the long ball a little more often. But other than that, basically the same game plan. We didn't change last week when I came in, so pretty much the same, I'd say.
What do you think of Rick Warman? He's done a pretty good job so far.
Well, I think he understood his role perfectly when Larry Kuharek took over. Larry said, no question, Rick Johnson will be my main man for the rest of the season. Of course, Rick hurt now, and Rick Warman has to come in, and I think Larry Kuharek has to be very pleased that he has a capable quarterback like Rick Warman to come in. And we saw early in the season that a number of occasions he did do the job and move the ball offensively pretty well, so I think he's not too bad.
First down for the Stampeders. They begin at the 31. Warman will throw over the middle to Gary Allen. Big play. Allen gets to the 51. Stopped by Paul Bennett. 20-yard gain. Allen has been effective so far.
He has, John, and he's been effective right over the middle where Leo Ezrins is playing his first game, as we said, as a Ticat at middle linebacker. Now, he played that spot with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a few times, middle linebacker, but the Stampeders are picking on that area.
Stampeders on the move with a first down at the 51. Warman to Willis. Knocked down. Good play by Kerry Parker. We got a hand in the way at the very last second.
And no secret, the Ticats are really trying to put some pressure on Warman with the blitz. That time, all 3 linebackers came, and Kerry Parker one-on-one with Larry Willis, and that's a tough assignment, but he got that hand up right on the hip. That's where you're supposed to stay, and did a nice job.
Seven 0 Stampeders on second down. Warman gets a little pressure this time. Will have to hurry. Skillman is after him. Warman turns it up and runs for the first down. He played that very well. He talked about being a little more of a running quarterback than Rick Johnson.
He puts a great move on Rod Skillman, 59. Watch how he just kind of dips back. That freezes Skillman, and now he can go downfield, pick up 12 yards, and get a first down. But he kind of froze Rod Skillman where it looked as though he was coming in to make the play.
He looked like he was going to take the easy way out, step out of bounds, and Skillman fell for the fake.
Oh, geez, you know, as a quarterback, if you can do that, pick up a few of what I call kind of freebie first downs running with the football, what does that make a difference to your club?
Another first down. This is Kirby Warren. Forward for close to 6 yards.
Kirby Warren, the ball carrier. Edwards and Covington on the tackle.
Second down and 5 to go. Stampeders. They're at the Tiger Cat 40. 1:18 to play in the first quarter, and it is Calgary by a touchdown at 7-0. Foreman time to throw, far side, has a man at the 30. First catch for Emmanuel Tolbert. 10-yard gain, and he caught it in front of the newcomer in that Tiger Cat secondary, Alwyn Bailey.
Emmanuel Tolbert one-on-one with Alvin Bailey. Bailey does a pretty good job. Watch the push off there. That's what you got to do. If you got a defensive back that's hanging on you and pawing you and everything, you've got to fight back and push off as a receiver. Tolbert does it, but I'll tell you, I was impressed with that offensive line. They had all 3 linebackers coming again. They picked up everybody, gave Rick Warman time to throw.
Stamps have another good drive going with a first down. Tiger Cat 30, nowhere to go for Allen that time. He'll lose some.
Leo Ezrin's right in on the play, and glad to see him make a good one because they've kind of picked on him here in the first quarter. Seems like that's the area that Calgary wants to attack. But Leo read that trap play perfectly, came up underneath Rob Smith, the guard, and made a nice tackle.
A loss of 2. It is 2nd and 12 Stampeders into the final 20 seconds of the opening quarter. A good play to stop the first down possibilities. Allen was in full flights, and Ezrin's just got a handout. So that is the end of the opening quarter with the Calgary Stampeders. Impressive so far, leading 7-0. TSN Game of the Week. Second quarter about to begin at Iverwin in Hamilton. It is the Stampeders by 7, and J.T. Hay will try a field goal. Just in outside the 30 at the 33. Hey, makes no mistake about it. And the Stampeders add 3 more to the total. 10-0 Calgary. Big game for both teams when you look at the standings East and West. The Tiger Cats have a little more to lose in one sense if they lose too much more ground to the Toronto Argonauts, a team that they're having some difficulties with in 1987.
Well, both teams today are in 3rd place in their respective conferences, so, they're solidly in 3rd. They're not going to have any trouble making the playoffs, these 2 teams, but still the fact that they both like to get up in the standings and get that home field. So we have a look at those first quarter stats, and the Stampeders with total yardage 163. That's a good first quarter because first quarters are usually kind of slow for the offense. 160 yards, pretty good job.
8 first downs means they control the football. And J.T. Hay will kick off after the field goal. This is Johnny Jones, number 24. Supposed to be a pretty good punt return and kickoff return guy, but not much room on that play.
John, in the press conference yesterday with head coach Al Bruno, I really got the feeling that he's a pretty low-key guy most of the time, but I had the feeling that underneath everything, he was getting a little ticked off at his team in the way that they perform.
I think you're right.
He doesn't harpoon the players or say too much negative stuff about them, but I really had the feeling like he was kind of fed up and said, now the guy's got to start performing today. We've lost 2 in a row, and they look sluggish here in the first half.
Kerrigan with a first down for the Tiger Cats. Fired that one wild. Steve Stapler, the intended receiver.
It's kind of like what I've been saying. A couple of good pass receptions by Tony Champion, but outside of that, they really haven't had much here in the first half. And
Champion almost took them down the field single-handedly, and then Kerrigan threw the interception on the goal line.
It was kind of bad throw on the interception, and that one there was bad. He had a bad throw to Rocky DiPietro over the middle. So, no, Al, he's not, well, he doesn't smile too much anyway, but I know he's not happy with this start.
On 2nd and 10. Kerrigan gets a bit of a rush, but he gets it away and has a completion and a big first down. Richie Hall bringing down Tony Champion after a 24-yard pickup. The Tiger Cats needed that one.
You always tell the good receivers by the way they catch the football out in the open field. You know, he could have let this thing come into his body, but instead he took it out in the hands and then brought it in. And well, that's the good ones, opposed to the guys that are just hoping they catch it.
Ticats just shy of midfield at their own 53 with a first down. Kerrigan for Stapler. He caught it. Was he out of bounds? I think he was, but it looks like they're calling it a catch. Chris Major, the victim. It is ruled a catch.
That's great concentration by Steve Stapler to come down with that football, because he got turned around.
Right.
And there you see it. And if that's in bounds, I'll eat my hat. There's no way.
You didn't like that one?
No. That's a freebie there.
A 40-yard pickup for the Tiger Cats to get a big break.
Oh, what a break that is. You know, I can't understand how they can miss that one.
This is Johnny Jones slashing his way for close to 5.
Well, not surprising, Bernie Morrison makes the tackle. He's their leading tackler this year, 92 on the season. Just to show you how impressive that is, the next leading tackler on the Stampeders is safety Greg Peterson with 62. So Bernie's had a lot of work this year in 1987.
Now, middle linebacker does see a lot of action in there,
Oh, yeah.
but that's
Sure, he's gonna make a lot of
substantially more than anybody else. Kerrigan to the end zone. DiPietro, the intended receiver, and it wasn't close to a touchdown catch.
Now they got a good matchup, DiPietro on Lamont Jeffers, although Lamont Jeffers is an extremely fast linebacker, but you still always figure your inside receiver working one-on-one with a linebacker can beat him, but Jeffers right with him, and Kerrigan had to kind of throw the ball away.
Ticats will have to settle for 3. Osbaldiston will hit it from the 20. Tom Porras will hold.
This is his first kick under game situation since the Grey Cup last year.
No mistake about it. Tiger Cats are on the board. They trail by a touchdown at 10-3. So the Tiger Cats come back and have to settle for a field goal, but they're only a touchdown behind. Leaf Pedersen, highlights of week 14, a close-up of Fred Glick, who's got some problems in Ottawa, and the BC Toronto matchup for week 15.
What a nice compliment that is. Well, you know, the picks have been pretty good this year.
You are doing all right. I think you've got, who have you got in this one? Who'd you pick in this one?
Well, I've got Hamilton, and I thought a pretty close one, so they're going to have to pull up their socks if they want to keep my record. And number 50, Lee Spivey, the starting left tackle for the Stampeders. And more you start to see the odd import filtrating into offensive lines around the Canadian Football League. And he is a big load at 6'2", 290 pounds. 4th
CFL game for Spivey. He has been around. Tried the Colts in '87, the Redskins and the Raiders in '83, the Lions of Detroit in '82. Brief try with the BC Lions. And he did a little time in the USFL, too.
We're going to have a look at him, too, because he'll be matched up, of course, quite a bit today against Grover Covington. Grover, one of the better defensive ends in the CFL. And it should be interesting to see how Spivey handles him.
Ron Hopkins on the dead run. Good scene for Hopkins to the 55-yard line and across. Stopped by Howard Fields, number 16. Great return, 32 yards. Stampeders in excellent field position to begin after giving up the field goal.
Now, Ronnie Hopkins, with that return, becomes the all-time Calgary Stampeder kickoff returner in yardage. He passes Larry Cates, who previously had held the record. And with that 32-yard return, he now becomes the leader. Good for you, Ronnie. He's had a great 1987.
Plays pretty well in that Stampeders secondary as well.
Yeah, 4 interceptions. No, he's the main man back there.
A first down for Warman. Looks long down the sidelines, and he looks too long.
Well, Larry Willis once again working on Kerry Parker. Isn't it funny how a guy like Kerry Parker can't make the Toronto team? You know, they say he's washed up, finished. He can't cover one-on-one anymore, and yet he comes to Hamilton, gets a new outlook on life, and now he's played really well for them, and a couple of good plays today already.
Kerry Parker in his 7th CFL season spent a little time out in British Columbia, too.
BC Toronto, 3 interceptions this year.
At the Ticat 54 to 2nd and 10 Calgary. Warman in some trouble, unloads, but can't get it to Kirby Warren. Walker had the pressure on that time.
Mike Walker is in his 5th year from Washington State, and he is a good one, too. Led the Ticats in sacks last year, and coming into this game, he's tied with Robert Covington for the team lead with 10 apiece.
Hugh Herrick is fun to watch on the sidelines. He's got a little emotion down there. Very much involved in the game.
Well, you know, a few weeks ago, John, we did his first game as the head coach, and I said, you know, he was the players' coach, the one that they wanted, so they better show their loyalty in a hurry. Well, you know what? They've gone out and done that.
Glenn Harper. Earl Winfield calls for it at the 3, bobbles it, and had nowhere to go after that. Pearson upfield to lead the tacklers along with Andy McVeigh, number 34. And the Tiger Cats will begin from deep in a hole after a 51-yard punt from Glenn Harper. There's the score. It is the Stampeders by 7. At halftime, David Schultz of the Globe and Mail on the state of the CFL. He'll chat with Jim Van Horn. 1st and 10 with John Bonk and highlights with Lee Pedersen. All coming up at halftime. Ticats in a bit of a hole right now, beginning from their own 6-yard line. It's been the Stampeders ball game so far. After the big interception on the goal line, they marched 78 yards for a first quarter touchdown, chipped in with a field goal in the second quarter. On 1st and 10, Kerrigan hands to Hucklack rather.
Hucklack, the ball carrier.
Seems to be shaken up after the carry. He's been around the Canadian Football League for a year or two, Dan Hucklack.
Well, he's been 8 years in the league. It's his 2nd year with the Hamilton Ticats. It's Ray Jones, Jeff Howe come out to take care of him. And really, I think it was about 3 years ago, he was playing the Labor Day game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Saskatchewan, and he had a severely broken leg. And at that time, there was some question whether he would be able to continue his career at all. But he has come back and played exceptionally well for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It's funny, you know, they have Kenny King right now in training camp. And if you recall his name, he was with the Los Angeles Raiders when they won the Super Bowl. And he's a pretty big name running back. And Rocky DiPietro told me yesterday, he said, it's funny, we got Kenny King in now to block for Dan Hucklack. So that's how they kind of think of him. You know, he has a lot of respect on this team, and glad to see him bounce back from that near career-ending injury.
Well, that time he ran into Richie Hall, and it was kind of an unfortunate situation. I don't think he's too badly hurt. I think it is a cut, and they'll maybe stitch him up and get him back in the ballgame. But his helmet glanced off Hall's hip as he was going to the ground. So Hucklack is up and about. I'll bet he'll be back. And in the meantime, it'll be Steve Jackson, number 74.
Well, Ray Jones,
Tiger Cat backfield.
Ray Jones, the fine trainer.
Is he the dean of the trainers now? Must be. Canadian football.
It's a good question. You know, Ivan Gutfried's been around a pretty long time for Saskatchewan, too.
Freddie Dunbar has a year or two of service.
Yeah,
but Ray,
he's
maybe a little.
Tell you what, great guy and does a super job.
Big play here. Johnny Jones. Great run. Tiger Cats out of a big hole as Jones gets near midfield. And it opened up perfectly for the Tiger Cats. Finally, Greg Peterson got over to stop Johnny Jones after a 41-yard carry.
Now Bruce Green gets fooled to the inside, and Johnny Jones, you know, good job by the wide receivers because they were playing man-to-man coverage. Well, they just keep running downfield. The defensive backs follow them. Johnny Jones just follows behind everybody.
41 for the Tiger Cats, and Johnny Jones, the longest gain of his CFL career. Ticats with a first down. Kerrigan in trouble near the 50-yard line. Got it to Jones, but he was going nowhere. Maybe a gain of 2. Depending on where they spot the football.
Bruce Green's been a pretty active linebacker this afternoon for the Stampeders. Once again, he's in on the play to give Johnny Jones a pretty good hit there, but
Goldschmidt had some pressure on Kerrigan.
Just to have that running game going. You start the drive on your 5-yard line, 2 plays later, you're out at midfield.
They mark it a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8 Tiger Cats. Jones once more. He won't be able to do it by himself.
Basket lead to Jones.
Grabbed about 4 yards, but Chris Major forced him out.
Well, they're going to
There
call
is a
number
flag down.
67, Ralph Schultz, the right guard of the Ticats, for holding. No question about that one. Calgary will decline it. They'll get the football back.
Calgary captain.
Jones did not have enough for the first down.
Well, he came out and hooked, I believe, Larry Hogue, and just absolutely wrestled him to the ground.
Tiger Cats are called for holding. The penalty is declined.
Make up your fucking mind.
So it is third down. And
67, Rick, holding there.
the Ticats, Paul Osbaldiston trots onto the field. They're getting a little excited down on
indecision
the
out there, I
sidelines. Richie Hall is deep for the Stampeders, along with Larry Willis. And Osbaldiston will step across the 45 to get this one away. His punting has improved. Willis dropped the football. He got it back.
You know, John, that will be the test for Paul Osbaldiston, whether he can punt the football. We know he's an excellent field goal kicker, and really, quite frankly, Bunny Ruoff was only averaging around 40 yards a punt this season, so I'm sure Paul can match that with no problem.
Well, I thought it was a better kick than it was. 34 yards for Osbaldiston.
Well, there's a sneaky breeze up there, I think. And, no, he's not happy with that, but
a sneaky breeze.
Sneaky breeze, yeah. It's one of those kind that's maybe about 8 miles an hour. What's that in kilometers? 12 kilometers an hour? Boy, I've been fooled ever since we went to that Celsius.
There's a look at the sneaky breeze blowing across Ivor Wynne Stadium right now. This is Gary Allen out across the 20.
Well, that's a good-looking play, though, offensively. Sealed everybody off, bring Rob Smith around the corner. It looked like they were going to get a lot more yardage than they ended up getting, didn't it?
Frank Robinson made the stop, and I agree with you.
That looks good. You know, you seal off Skillman in the end, and then Rod Smith comes around, gets a bit of a block on Frank Robinson. I think Gary Allen kind of just tripped on his own there as he was coming up.
Sweep, a great play in Canadian football when they can make it work right. From the 22, this is 2nd and 5 Calgary. Warman looked for Gary Allen. Allen was in a collision with Frank Robinson, and he was looking for a flag. And still is.
Rick Warman was looking for a flag.
I don't know what those bandanas do for the head end of the helmet. Leif, did you ever wear one?
Well, no, I didn't. Kind of keep the hair in place a bit, I guess. I don't know.
It's like maybe a hairnet.
A little more cushion if you take a hard hit. I don't know. Like, what do you think? Are they stylish or what?
Well, they must be in style.
Oh, good color though, red.
I don't know if it's team issue or not. Not much running room for Johnny Jones on the return that time. He's back to the 50. 5-yard return after a 43-yard punt. Stampeders lead it by a touchdown. We'll be right back.
My buddy Book said.
A good one so far. Stampeders lead the Tiger Cats by a touchdown midway through the second quarter. The Ticats happy to have Rocky DiPietro back in the lineup after missing a lot of games this season. Up and down season for the Tiger Cats. Some thoughts on his return from Rocky prior to the game.
Well, I hope to get a lot of playing time in today. I know the other slot backs have been playing well ahead of me, but I hope I can get in there and provide a bit of a spark. I think what we've lacked is a bit of intensity lately, especially the last 2 ball games. We had a very good winning streak going, but we didn't play all that well in a lot of those games, and I guess we're lucky to win some of them. But we got to get back to basic football and get a little hungrier, and you know, provide some entertainment for these people.
Leif, I like Rocky DiPietro. He's a fine player, but a great guy to sit around and chat with.
That sure is. He was a teammate of mine for 4 years, and when he says the other guys have played well in his absence, he's being very modest. There's no question he's the guy they want in the lineup, and he makes the offense tick because Kerrigan can really rely on him in that 12 to 15-yard hook range. He's excellent.
First down for the Tiger Cats from their 50. Some pressure on Kerrigan. He releases in a hurry, but underthrows Champion at the far side. Hopkins with 4 interceptions on the air, covering on Champion.
Kerrigan just does not look sharp. His numbers are not too bad, 9 of 15, and most of those have been to Tony Champion. But on some of the outs and over the middle, he just has not thrown the ball very well today.
The goal line interception, or this might have been a different ball game at this point.
Yeah, it could have been, but that's football. Give Calgary's defense credit. They made the big play at the right time.
Made the play and then marched upfield for the touchdown long drive. 2nd and 10. Ticats from the 50. Kerrigan gets a first down from Earl Winfield.
Pass complete to Earl Winfield.
Winfield made the catch in
Holt made the
ahead
tackle.
of the first down marker and then spun around. He might have lost 6 inches, but it should be a first down. It is.
He's been a pretty exciting player since he joined the Ticats this year, and having him in at the slot, I mean, he's a good guy in the slot. Fast, quick, good quick moves out of his cuts, and he's going to put a lot of pressure on the inside safeties, Richie Hall and Larry Hogue.
From the Stampeder 50 now, after a gain of 10, it is first down, Hamilton. Quick pitch to Johnny Jones. Good move to get outside, and good run for Jones. Short of the first down.
Well, John, you would think that Hamilton should be able to run the football against Calgary. They only average around 100 yards a game rushing, but that offensive line is 6'5". They average 6'5" and 288 pounds, and that's a lot bigger than that Calgary front four. You think maybe through the course of a game they'd be able to wear that front four down a little bit.
Stampeder front four is a quick front four in a way, with Hallman and Goldsmith on the left side.
Well, they're not big guys, though.
But they're not big. Quick toss on 2nd and 5, and Richie Hall was covering.
Yeah, Kerrigan just has not looked sharp, and he's disappointed with that. He's had trouble throwing the outs, and those are should be bread and butter passes for him to complete.
So Osbaldiston in. Richie Hall is deep, along with Gary Allen. They're back near the 5. Osbaldiston stands at his own 50. Angle to the sidelines taken by Hall, and he has nowhere to go. Stopped right at the 15.
That's a pretty good kick by Osbaldiston. Not as far as I'm sure he would like it, but he put it in a good spot, and Calgary's got a long way to go.
Got 38 yards out of that one.
Well, sometimes it's not the distance that really makes the difference. He got it to the side where they could pin the returner in, and now they have to start at their own 15, and you're looking at a 95-yard football field, and that means you got to put a lot of plays together to score some points.
What do you think of Warman this afternoon so far?
Well, I think he's been a bit shaky. He's had some chances to complete some balls that he hasn't been able to, too. He looked good on the one drive, but they were nice short passes to Gary Allen. I think maybe he's got to get back to that scheme again.
This is Allen on 1st and 10 from the 15. And maybe a couple. Frank Robinson, the outside linebacker, made the stop on Gary Allen that time.
What a great play he made, too, Frank Robinson, because he had number 61, Tom Spallettini, coming right around the corner to block him. He fought off the block and then made the tackle as well.
They mark it a gain of 1.
Gee, some of those running plays look like they're really going to develop into some good yardage, and Hamilton's reacted quickly and kept him to 5 yards on one play and then just 1 yard on that one.
Rick Johnson on the sidelines with head coach Larry Kuharek. Gorman over the middle. Man open, Christensen. First down. Big play for the Stampeders. It gets them out of a hole. Jay Christensen, first catch of the game, a 24-yarder.
That's an excellent read by Rick Warman. He said 3 receivers down the middle of the field now. Paul Bennett's got to make a choice. Do I stay in the middle or do I go with Emmanuel Tolbert sliding over? He goes with Tolbert, and Warman picks out the right guy, Jay Christensen, and he makes a good catch and gets himself a little breathing room now.
Got that one in front of Paul Bennett.
Well, Bennett was in a bind. You know, he had to make a choice. Do I go with Christensen or Tolbert? And I think he made the right choice. Tolbert's the game breaker.
From the 38, first down, Calgary. Kirby Warren, number 25. They do it all the time, Leif. They've got running backs coming out of the backfield, number 25 and number 23.
That's tough.
Not that easy.
No, it makes it tough.
But that was Kirby Warren.
Well, John, when I first yesterday saw that they were going to play both imports in the backfield, right away I thought to myself, you know, what a perfect opportunity to run those swing screen passes to a couple of import running backs with speed. And as yet we haven't seen it today, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they would do at some point.
2nd and 6. Tolbert open at the 45. Shakes a tackle. Got away from Bennett. Still going. Emmanuel Tolbert. And finally wrestled down just inside the 15. In hot pursuit, Les Brown. Tolbert makes it a big play. A flag comes down.
Fields and Yanavakis on the tackle, a penalty marker on the play.
Did you spot a face mask in there, Leaf? 55 yards for Tolbert on the pass from Warman.
Objectionable conduct. Calgary 19 after yards gained.
Well, I don't really know what he did, but Jacques Decarie, objectionable conduct on Emmanuel Tolbert. What a super catch and run he made over the middle.
First down will stand. They'll march it off. 10 yards after from where the ball was. They'll net 45 on it. And Calgary has a first down at the Ticat 23. Warman, Tolbert, one-hander, touchdown. Check that, 89. Larry Willis, a 23-yard touchdown. Number 89, Larry Willis, has the second Stampeder touchdown of the afternoon in front of Kerry Parker that time.
Rick Warman reads the blitz, and what a super catch this is. Larry Willis cuts inside. Parker cannot stay with him. A one-hander, and a couple of big plays back-to-back. The Tolbert catch, and now the Larry Willis catch for the touchdown. And boy, I'm impressed with the Stampeders here in the first half.
They have played well and deserve the lead they have at this point. J.T. Hay adding one more, and it's 17-3. Stampeders leading the Tiger Cats. Larry Willis, his 7th touchdown catch of the season. Pretty play, a one-hander like Leif Pettersson used to do.
He made it look pretty easy there, didn't he? But I'm impressed with Rick Warman. Every time that the Hamilton Ticats have blitzed today, he has read it very well and made the right reads and throws. That time when you blitz up the middle, you know you're going to have a one-on-one guy outside. He picked him out, and although Willis made a great catch, still a good read by Warman.
Scoring drive, 95 yards, you said. I remember they started at the 15. You said 95 was a long way to go, but they did it in 5 plays in 2 minutes 47 seconds, and the 23-yard touchdown catch by
John,
Larry Willis.
They made it look easy. You know, usually at 95 yards, you're hoping, well, geez, if we can put 10 plays together, we've got a chance to score some points. They did it in 5.
One big play to Emmanuel Tolbert that netted 45 yards. Winfield is back along with Johnny Jones, number 24 for the Tiger Cats. This is Jones, 25. Tries to swing it outside, and the Stampeders had it read well.
Ronnie Hopkins, number 15, said, "You are not Johnny Jones. You're not getting outside me." And he just kept stringing it out, and made a nice play to keep Jones from getting outside.
Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. Some say the house that Leif Pettersson built.
Oh, well, then they're crazy if they think
I didn't say that. Some
it's the house
said
that Mosca and Barrow and some of the greats that played here built. And
good football stadium.
Toronto Argonauts call it Neverwin Stadium.
They've had success here.
They have this year. I don't know. I don't figure this out. They always play well here now.
Kerrigan has a strike. Tony Champion out at the 50.
You know, here's where Kerrigan's got to take charge of this offense. They've had a lousy first half, but now he's got a chance with just a little under 3 minutes left to get something going. He's seen enough of the Calgary defense to understand what they're trying to do, and now he's got to start connecting on some passes. Up to him to get it going. He connects here. They got a nice first down.
So the Tiger Cats will have a first down when we return. And more yardage being marched off. We'll get to that in a moment. It is the Stampeders leading 17-3. In Hamilton at this stage, the Tiger Cat mascot. Hamilton picked up a first down, and then with an objectionable conduct penalty against the Stampeders, they gained 15 more yards. So the Tiger Cats are inside the 45 at the 44 with a first down.
You know, Calgary out in front 17-3 at this point. Now Hamilton would love to get something before they go in that locker room at halftime. They've had a miserable first half offensively, and I'm not talking about a field goal. They want the big one right here, and I know Al Bruno wants it too.
Al Bruno, the Tiger Cat head coach, a Grey Cup winner. Finally, 3 cracks at it. Won it last year, won in a big way over the Eskimos.
Well, you can look at that 2 ways. That he couldn't win the big one, or he was there every year, so he must be doing something right.
Winfield takes a big hit after the catch. Lamont Jeffers. Cork Winfield, I think he's okay.
Yeah, that's why a lot of guys don't like moving in from wide receiver to slot back. They just prefer to stay to the outside. But Earl Winfield took the hit. He's up off the ground, no problem. But Lamont Jeffers, what a smack he put on Earl Winfield. Give him credit. He hung on to the football.
2:37 to go till halftime. It is the Stampeders in front 17-3. It is the Tiger Cats with a football at the Calgary 37. Second down and 3. Kerrigan, champion, and it's picked off. Second of the game for Chris Major. 2 big ones in his CFL debut. Chris Major, memorable beginning in Canadian football, a 17-yard return. Picked one off at the goal line earlier.
Don't be surprised to see Tom Porras loosening that arm up, because he had champion, Kerrigan had champion out in front here, and he threw it a little behind him. And once again, Chris Major, rather, is able to come underneath, and give him credit. He's played a super first half. Anything in his area, he's covered like a blanket. 2 interceptions, can't ask any more from a rookie.
Chris Major in his debut in the Canadian Football League. As far as we've been able to find out, he is not related to Doran Major.
No, I don't think so. But this is what you always hope for. You know, David McCreary's their regular corner. Now, he's not in the game today, and you always hope that your replacement can do an adequate job. A couple of interceptions, I'd say that's a little more than adequate.
I would say so. 2 big ones have killed Tiger Cat drives.
Oh, guaranteed points on these drives, too.
Both of them, as a matter of fact, sir. Field goals at least. So the Stampeders with 2:12 remaining. First down. 34-yard line. Over the middle, Warman. For Jay Christensen, he couldn't hang on. A little high. And the doctor on the sidelines at the Calgary bench checking out Chris Major.
A rookie from South Carolina. Nice way to start.
He is in the ball game because of an injury last week to David McCrary. McCrary broke his nose and was unable to answer the bell this week. 2nd and 10, Stampeders. 34-yard line. Warman. Well, I don't know who he was looking for there. Fans would like a penalty, but no flags are down.
I have no idea who he's trying to hit, but he did the right thing. Didn't throw an interception, didn't give up a sack.
So the closest receiver, unknown.
You know, I'm sure Hamilton's seen Glenn Harper on film a few times, and he's had a tough year at getting those punts off. He's a pretty slow kicker, and, you know, here's a good stage where you should really maybe go after one.
He's had a couple blocks. Not deep. Bouncing at the 40. And getting past Johnny Jones. Check that.
Bailey takes on the spot.
Alvin Bailey, number 29.
Stoner making the tackle.
55-yard kick. A lot of it on the roll. Alvin Bailey inserted into this Tiger Cat lineup for Jim Rockford, who was injured a week ago.
Well, 1:52 left, John. They still got time to score, and Mike Kerrigan still remains in the football game.
He gets his chance once more, but he needs to march these Tiger Cats. Kerrigan brought down from behind. Goldsmith was there, number 78.
I believe Vince Goldsmith's been around for 7 seasons. Originally started with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, was the Shenley Rookie of the Year, but Vince with his 9th sack of 1987. And Here he comes. He just fights his way around Big Mike Dirks and doesn't give up, keeps coming. And when Kerrigan can't find anybody downfield, it's too late, and Goldsmith gets the sack.
From the 22, Tiger Cats face 2nd and 10. Kerrigan is getting pressured. Got that one away and has a first down at the 40. Jacques Chapdelaine, number 85, his first catch of the day.
Well, Al Bruno said yesterday that Jacques Chapdelaine has played well enough in the last few games to be starting, but really just could not find a spot for him. He's getting a chance here in late stages of the second quarter. He's in replacing Earl Winfield.
A 17-yard pickup for Chapdelaine. Tiger Cats at their own 39 for the first down. Kerrigan to the far side, picked off again. Champion, the intended receiver. Hopkins has the interception. And I would think that'll be about it for Mr. Kerrigan. 1:02 to go till halftime.
John,
And expect Tom Porras to start the second half.
it's no secret, you know, I'm a big Ronnie Hopkins fan. I think he's played extremely well this year on the Calgary defense.
But what you're going to say is that was not a tough interception.
No, it wasn't a tough, but you know what? He made a great play. He makes it look easy because he stays right on Champion's hip, and it's probably a pass pattern that he's seen on film and he's read, and he's really anticipating Champion going to the out. He hung on it, and he's got his 5th interception, and he has played well. Set that kickoff return record for the Stampeders.
Remember when those turnover numbers used to always read against the Calgary Stampeders?
Right. They are not good in the take-give categories.
They have given it up once, and the Tiger Cats have turned it over 3 times so far. Into the final minute, first half, it is Calgary 17, Hamilton 3.
Talking about that, Calgary on the season has given the ball away 26 more times than they've taken it from opponents, and that, of course, ranks last in the league. One of the reasons why they had problems early, but lately they haven't been beating themselves.
65 turnovers on the season for the Stampeders, fumbles and interceptions, and on loss of downs as well. Warman in trouble, gets away. Now Price is after him, and he steps out of bounds. Mike Walker, rather, 61.
He's out of bounds, sir.
34 seconds to play till halftime. Stay with us for the halftime show. We'll send you back to Toronto. And Jim Van Horn, he'll update the Blue Jays score. Not much has changed. Still 1-0.
Still 1-0 Blue Jays.
Interesting, that matchup, as people talk about it in these parts anyway. It is not the Blue Jays against the Tigers today. It is the Blue Jays against Doyle.
And I think that's good. Gives them some extra incentive to beat their former teammate. Still 1-0 in the top of the 5th.
Look at this, J.T. Hay, a field goal try from the 54. Well short. Tiger Cats run it out. Les Brown actually lost yards. 22 seconds remain.
I wouldn't mind being a fly on the wall in the Hamilton dressing room at halftime, because I think the normally quiet Al Bruno will really go in and give them a tongue lashing, because not only losing 2 games in a row, they have not looked good here in the first half.
And talking to Rocky DiPietro, they did not look all that good when they won 5 games in a row, according to a lot of observers of this Hamilton Tiger Cat football team. Tough to defend the Grey Cup, but they could have played with a little more intensity at times. And Bruno has, on more than one occasion this season, thrown his hands up in the air and said, "What are you guys doing to me?" But remember, this isn't over, because Lee Pedersen picked the Tiger Cats in this one on the CFL report. And I think the second half will be a different story as far as the Tiger Cats are concerned.
I picked them for about the last 4 weeks in a row, and I figure the law of average is going to catch up, and they're going to win a game.
Well, it's not over. Only halftime. 17-3. 1 quick touchdown as we begin the second half, and we'll have a ball game in the second half, and we expect Mr. Porras might be out there.
Well, I think so.
Quarterback.
I think at this stage of the game, you know, Kerrigan, although he's had some guys open and made some good reads, just has not been able to deliver the football well this afternoon, and I would not be surprised to make the change one bit. Larry Kaharick, on the other hand, and you know, we've talked about this time and time again, what this team needed more than anything else, because they really haven't changed a lot of personnel. They just needed a shot of enthusiasm, and they've received that from him, and it's transpired through the whole team.
2nd and 8 facing Tiger Cats. Content right now, it appears, to run down the final 17 seconds on the clock after that Stampeder timeout. Calgary has turned in some big plays defensively and moved the ball well offensively, and that's pretty well the story of the first half.
Well, now this is an interesting. Well, the clock's going to run down. Now, although it's 3rd down, they can let the clock run out and just down it, and nothing will happen. So that's Kerrigan will take the snap, and that'll be it.
2 seconds on the clock right now. Last play, first half, barring penalty. And Kerrigan concedes. Goes down on one knee to turn the football over to the official. That is the end of the half. Calgary Stampeders, impressive, both sides of the football, to take a 14-point lead on the Hamilton Tiger Cats to the dressing room at halftime at Ivor Wyeth. Back to Toronto, and here's Jim Van Horn. Second half, Calgary Stampeders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats on TSN's Game of the Week. Calgary by 2 touchdowns. Rick Warman, 8 of 15 for 215 yards and 1 touchdown. Mike Kerrigan has a substantial number of yards passing, 13 of 22, 196, but 3 interceptions are part of his tale so far. J.T. Hay will kick off to Johnny Jones or Earl Winfield. Neither one. It comes up short. Taken by Leahy, number 37.
Terry Lenny takes the kickoff.
And the first half stats favor the Calgary Stampeders rather heavily. As mentioned, Orban with a hot hand. And the Stampeders have taken advantage of Tiger Cat turnovers. Well, we talked about a new quarterback, and there he is, Tom Porras, who has led the Tiger Cats much of this season. He starts the second half. He's in trouble to begin with, but gets away. Good beginning for Tom Porras, who has a first down. Lamont Jeffers, 95, bringing Porras down.
Well, there's no question, John, Mike Kerrigan is not a running quarterback, and Tom Porras has that ability. And, you know, once again, Calgary did a good job downfield, but this is the difference. Porras says, hey, heck with it. I'm going to do this on my own. Tucks the ball under and finds the first down marker. Now you get down so you don't take a hit. But this is the difference between the two quarterbacks. Porras has the ability to run and make some things happen.
Lunch pail type of guy. Gets the moving that way. And that way as well along the ground. Johnny Jones has another first down. So the Tiger Cats begin the second half with 2 big first downs. 2 Stampeders are left in the wake. 2 Stampeders injured. Bruno has to like this beginning.
Well, he made the smart move, made the switch, and already they've seen some life in that offense here in the 3rd quarter. Bruce Green, one of the injured Stampeders.
There are 2 of them down there. Pat Clayton taking care of Green right now.
Probably
and Harold Hallman
probably ran into each other.
is the other injured player. They might have collided. But the story so far, 2 first downs for the Tiger Cats to begin the second half. And Hamilton has the football in Calgary territory at the 30. Hallman limps off. Green is up as well. They'll both be back.
That's tough. You got to take 2 guys out on one play. You know, once the trainer comes out, you got to get them out for a play.
So they lose a linebacker and a down lineman, the right defensive tackle, Harold Hallman.
Let's talk about Tom Porras for a minute. You know, 59% on the year, and of course he was the 3rd string guy coming into training camp.
No numbers last year at all.
13 interceptions, 13 touchdown passes, and
this is Hucklack. Tough slugging up the middle, maybe 4. There are the interceptions and the touchdowns on the right-hand side. But really 2,500 yards passing. He has moved the Tiger Cat football team.
Yeah, he's had some big games this year, and very lucky for Al Bruno. Kenny Hobart's ready to come back onto the roster too, so you don't know, have no idea how they're going to handle that situation.
2nd and 6 Tiger Cats at the 26 of the Stampeders. Swings it out, and Jones couldn't quite hang on.
It is incomplete.
That's a good looking play if you can get it developed. And it was just, you know, that's the kind of pass you got to feather out there to the running back and just lead him a little bit, give him the nice soft one. And Tom Porras drilled that at him, and Johnny Jones just could not hang on.
Porras will stay in to hold for Paul Osbaldiston. He has accounted for the only Tiger Cat points in the football game so far. And there's the distance for Osbaldiston on the season.
Wouldn't mind seeing a fake right here.
You want a fake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only got 6 yards to go for first down. You're at the 33-yard line. Now, don't think Calgary's not looking for that either, but, you know, maybe a trick play or something to get the Ticats on track.
They'll take the 3 if they can get it. Osbaldiston is wide. Richie Hall in the end zone. He's going to give up the single point.
See, they should have gone for the fake.
Might as well have for the 1 point. You can coach in this league, no problem.
Oh, sure, I tell you.
Osbaldiston 50% on the afternoon. He misses that one. Tiger Cats behind by 17-4.
Hi.
Far, the Stampeders have 17, 10 in the second quarter, 7 in the first. And the Tiger Cats have just 3 from the first half and 1 in the second. But interesting there, comparing the quarterbacks through the first half. In total yards, it really wasn't much of a difference. But 3 interceptions for Kerrigan, and that got him the hook.
Yeah, very similar, but Warman's had the production, and Kerrigan just has had the pretty decent numbers, but no production. You know, I think any quarterback will tell you the personal statistics really go out the window if you can't put it in the end zone.
Kerrigan is on the bench. Porras will get another shot after the Stampeder first down from the 35. Warman pumps, hands out to Gary Allen. Stampeders a pretty good running football team so far today. Allen gets to the 50, a first down by 5.
Well, we talked about that, John. They rush the football better than anybody else in the CFL, and we talked about that matchup against that Ticat defense, only giving up around 70 yards a game. And here's a nice Statue of Liberty play, and they get 3 blockers out in front. Frank Robinson actually does a pretty good job taking all 3 of them on and forcing the issue there. Nevertheless, it's a first down, and Calgary's really they've come up with the big plays when they've needed them on offense today.
Injured Tiger Cat down. Being taken care of by Ray Jones. It's Les Brown, the right cornerback. Not much has changed at Exhibition Stadium. Toronto Blue Jays 1, Doyle Alexander nothing. Middle of the 6th.
Jim Clancy still in for the Blue Jays. Doyle Alexander, of course, gave up 1 earned run in the first inning. A single by George Bell, padding his RBI league leading totals.
Les Brown is up. Looks like he'll be back. So they'll make a little shift back there in the Tiger Cats secondary for a player 2.
One Bob.
First down Stampeders, their own 50-yard line. Calgary in front, 17-4. A bit of a surprise at those numbers up on the board. Laney comes in. And Alvin Bailey will shift to corner for Brown. Good-looking run for Gary Allen. Looks more like the All-Canadian running back of 1986. Laney made the tackle.
They're doing a good job up front, John. That's the difference right now. Gary Allen has no trouble getting through that hole, and some good blocking up front. Kari Lee-Renko, the right tackle, does a good job on Mike Walker, and there goes Gary Allen. He's been a story, although Larry Wills has made a couple of nice catches, so has Emmanuel Tolbert. Gary Allen has been the workhorse. 23-yard gain has the Stampeders at the Hamilton Tiger Cat 43 with a first down. Warman over the middle, wide open. Kirby Warren. He should have had it. That's a good throw. He was wide open. Kirby Warren actually came to the Stampeders last year. They had him in for a trial, and they liked what they saw, signed him for 1987, and has in fact played a number of games for the Stampeders this year when Gary Allen has been hurt. 4th start today for Warren. Catching 16 yards of reception, so it's not surprising that he was open downfield, and that would have added to that average in a hurry. 2nd and 10, Stampeders. Warman. Time to throw, looks long for Tolbert. And it's picked out.
Tiger Cats have a big interception. Les Brown looks all right. He's back in the game to run this one. And tiptoeing down the sidelines, Brown ran out of room, but that might be what the Tiger Cats need. Flag is down.
Well, the crowd is cheering about that interception by Les Brown, but there was a block thrown on the sidelines that you're going to see at the end of this running play, and I'll describe it for you. But Les Brown sloughs off his man. He's not really covering Tolbert, but he cuts across, makes the interception. Now, just as Les Brown goes out of bounds, number 61, Mike Walker, is going to hit number 23, Gary Allen. There you see Gary Allen chasing him. Now watch what happens. Bang. Gary Allen goes right into the dugout. The Hamilton players there.
The interception will stand, but they'll march it off at the point of the clipping infraction. Even in total yards and penalties, Tiger Cats have one more.
Les Brown, of course, we told you, tied for the league lead a few years ago with Paul Bennett in interceptions.
Hot luck. Ran right out of his pads. He was going so fast.
Well, he made a good play.
Mark it a gain of 4 for Dan Hucklack.
Well, one positive side for the Stampeders, if you look at it, you know, he threw the long bomb, and of course, he didn't make a great throw, but that's the kind of pass that you get intercepted you don't really care about because it doesn't hurt you.
It is 2nd and 6. Tiger Cats from the 15 over the middle. Jones can't hang on. Johnny Jones has dropped 2 in a row. Might well have caught that one, Lee.
Well, he should have had that one. Makes it tough on your quarterback when he comes in the third quarter and he's trying to desperately to get some kind of momentum and some offense going, and you make a good throw and your guy doesn't catch it, it gets you down in a hurry. Now, here's the test for Osbaldiston. Now, this is what they need to find out. Can he get you out of trouble?
On his own goal line, Osbaldiston. Gets it out to the 50. Larry Willis on the return. And Willis gets to the 45-yard line. So the Stampeder defense holds, and Calgary will have excellent field position when we return. The Stampeders leading the Tiger Cats by 13. It's 17-4. Restless with the Tiger Cat performance so far this afternoon. It is the Stampeders out in front 17-14 on the hometown Tiger Cats. And Calgary will have a first down at the 45 of the Tiger Cats. Rookie Tony Pearson from the University of Alberta Golden Bears in his 3rd starts as a Calgary Stampeder. Prior to the game, we asked him what the Stampeders had to do. Let's see if he was right.
Well, we just need to get out there and get open, and as long as we get out into the open spot, Rook will get us the ball, and if we do that, we should be able to come out with the win in this game.
Is this the day for your first CFL catch?
I feel like it will be. I've been getting open before, but it just seems like well, in the Winnipeg game, I got a bit nervous, but I think this will be the game that I get a catch, and I know that Rick will get the ball out there to me, so I just have to go out and do the job.
Leif, do you remember waiting for your first catch in the CFL?
I can't remember when it was or where it was.
Really?
But I'll tell you, I mean, he's got it figured out. He says, if you got to get open, so I'll go along with that. He's got it figured out.
Warren in some trouble initially, but picks up good yardage as he gets down inside the 25. Stopped by Paul Bennett. Stampeders rolling once more. The Tiger Cats have struggled most of the afternoon. And the Calgary running game has worked quite effectively.
I'd like to check with the statistician Bobby Layton, just see what those rushing totals are to this point. You know, they average about 135 yards a game, the Stampeders do.
There's Bobby's numbers.
So the totals are over 100 yards for both Gary Allen and Kirby Warren, so they're on track. 114 yards average a game, so they're getting close to that.
Not much on that play. From the 25. Warren once more. A gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7 to go. Stampeders. They lead 17-4 on the Tiger Cats.
Well, I think if Rick Warman was a guessing man and from the spotters in the press box that relay his plays, you know, you have to think Hamilton's coming with the blitz here to try and get them out of field goal range or something. And so look for that matchup. 1-on-1, you got Larry Willis on Les Brown to the left side.
2nd and 7. Warman in trouble, and he's down. Big charge that time came from Alvin Bailey, number 29. First sack of the game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Alvin Bailey's 2nd of the year. They like to do that when they're backed up from the short side of the field. They'll bring that inside safety. And that's time Alvin Bailey had a free ride to the quarterback. Calgary called was holding, and of course Hamilton got what they wanted. You get the sack and you move back that field goal attempt a little farther. You know, I'm sure Rick Warman, as I said, knew it was coming, and he wanted to try and go to Larry Willis. He looked that way, but of course Alvin Bailey got there so fast there was no chance to do anything.
J.T. Hay. It'll be spotted at the 39. No mistake for Hay on that one. (20-3) Stampeders, 20-4 Stampeders in front of the Tiger Cats. (7:29) to play in the 3rd quarter. Ticats are about due.
Well, really, John, the difference in this game is when Calgary's been able to get into scoring position, they've come away with either 3 points or a touchdown. And every time Hamilton's been in scoring position, they have not been able to do so. A couple of interceptions deep in Calgary territory seems to have been the story of the game.
There's Rick Johnson in the red sweater on the sidelines, helping out head coach Larry Kuharek.
A lot of turmoil early in the year for Rick Johnson, but with the coaching change, was happy. He's not happy, of course, that he's on the injured list, and looks as though he may not get back in the lineup this year.
It is a shoulder problem, and they hope that Johnson would be back come playoff time.
Almost looks like the Jim McMahon look-alike contest there on the sideline, doesn't it?
Get those sunglasses on. Earl Winfield is deep to accept this kickoff from J.T. Hay. And that streak continues for J.T. Hay, his consecutive convert streak. Winfield at the 35. Good run for Winfield. 20-yard return. He's right to midfield. So the Tiger Cats can use the field position. Tackled by Tony Pearson. Tom Porras started the 2nd half. Got a couple of quick first downs, but after that, the Ticat offense fizzled once more. Porras to the far side. As a man, that's Tony Champion. And Champion has plenty for the first down.
Tony Champion.
25 yards to pick up.
He's a smooth receiver, you know. He's such a fluid runner. He makes a nice cut on the out, and it's been the difference with the 2 quarterbacks right now. Mike Kerrigan was not able to hit that out pattern, and that time Tom Porras throws a strike out there, and nice move. Champion gets a few extra yards.
Ticats first down. Calgary 31. Porras to the outside again. And this time it's Rocky DiPietro. Chris Major covering on DiPietro.
Looks as though Tom Porras on these last 2 passes, John's getting into a bit of a rhythm, and good setup, good protection for him, and easy for him to complete those passes to the outside. I mean, that's not a tough throw, and he's making them look easy.
2nd catch of the afternoon for DiPietro. That one for 21 yards. Previously a 15-yard catch. On 2nd down, Porras is clobbered. Well, a veteran and a relative rookie to the head coaching ranks in Canadian football. You remember 55-48, the record-breaking game?
You know, John, I think I'm going to take a guess. I think it was Daryl Moyer who picked off a pass and took it in for the touchdown and won that game when he was playing for the Calgary Stampeders.
Osbaldiston. Good on 1 of 2. Wide again. He has missed 2.
Where's Bernie?
They'll be calling for him in the stands.
Osbaldiston is wide on a 40-yard field goal attempt.
20-5, Osbaldiston.
I hear him. Bernie. Bernie.
Well, Bernie's in the crowd.
No, Bernie was here. Yeah, you're right, because he got the check for the Molson Player of the Week a couple of weeks ago.
6 for 6 or something.
Yeah,
Field
so
goals.
he came to collect the check. I don't know if he stayed to watch the game.
The call won't go out quite yet, but Osbaldiston has missed 2 and connected on 1. He is responsible for all of the Tiger Cat points so far.
Hold on to your game tickets. Don't stop worth $1 off the regular purchase price of the large 14-inch fresh-made Barn-Deluxe Pizza.
Calgary Stampeders in a comfy 15-point lead right now. 5:48 to play in the third quarter.
Well, I think he's pretty disappointed as you take a look at Paul. You know, you always like to come back into the lineup for whatever reason and start off on a positive note. He has not had a good day today. Punting the football, not that great. Last year was a super year for him when Bernie Ruoff went out with that injury, capped off by, of course, 6 field goals, as we told you, in the Grey Cup. But today, I'm sure he'd like to be starting it over again.
Well, the points he's missed loom rather large for the Tiger Cats at this stage of things. They are far from out of the football game. But that Tiger Cat offense has to move the football. And really, it's not up to Osbaldiston from here on in. They got to get some touchdowns.
I agree with you, John. They coughed up maybe 14 potential points in that first half by turnovers.
Calgary Stampeder first down, 35-yard line. Gary Allen has nowhere to go. Covington was backing up on the stop, but it was number 61, Mike Walker, there first.
You know the way the Ticat defense has played over the last few seasons. When the offense has struggled, it seems like the defense has always been able to pick them up with a turnover or a big play. And you know, just to change the complexion of the game right now, I almost feel like that's the kind of thing that has to happen for Hamilton.
Ticats have managed 2 points on wide field goals in the second half. Warman.
Well, it hasn't been pretty for Rick Warman, but it's been effective. He's been able to put a couple touchdowns on the scoreboard, and that's the difference.
2nd and 9. Warman over the middle, and Kirby Warren couldn't hang on. Warren has dropped a couple.
Yeah, he has. He had an easy catch down the middle, and that one would have been a good catch. Rick Warman sandwiched it in between Leo Ezrins and I believe Ed Gadavakis. Would have been a good catch.
Would have been a first down catch, too.
That's what you like to do, is start to put a few first downs together. Although at their own 35-yard line, they have pretty good field position.
Glenn Harper from the 20. Chasing Winfield back to the 25 of the Tiger Cats, and a flag goes down almost immediately. They're beating themselves. Little clip by Parker.
I think you're right, John.
49-yard kick, though, for Harper.
Illegal block, Hamilton 14.
Well, you hit it right on the head, John. You called Gary Parker.
Well, it was in open field. It wasn't hard to see that one.
Well, you might see it just at the top of your screen. There it is, number 14, Gary Parker, peeling back, trying to get a block for Earl Winfield. But, of course, when you hit him in the back, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get called 15 yards.
So the Tiger Cats start deep in their own zone with a first down at the 17. Along the ground, big opening. Johnny Jones, and that's a big first down for the Tiger Cats. Gets them out of a deep hole and out near the 35.
Well, with the Ticats having the size of an offensive line that they do, there's nothing fancy about their blocking schemes. Just straight ahead, man on man, and on the left side, Miles Correll and Jason Riley open up a huge hole for Johnny Jones to run through. And you know, if you can get those first downs deep in your own territory on the ground, it's a big plus.
Kerrigan strike to the, or rather Porras strike to the far side. Chris Major covering on Steve Stapler, short of the first down. Maybe about 5.
Well, not really a bad play on first down. Actually, it's closer to 6 yards. So now you got 2nd and 4. It's pretty good. The way they run the football, you know, you can really keep the Stampeder defense guessing at this stage whether you're going to run or throw for it.
Dan Hucklock has the first down. Greg Peterson, the safety for the Stampeders, made the stop.
Well, Dan Hucklock made a nice cut behind the center, number 56, Dale Sanderson. Initially, the play to go over the right guard, but Hucklock cuts it back. A nice little move, and boy, he must be happy in this offense getting a chance to really carry the football and catch it.
First downs are even. Ticats hadn't put it in the end zone. Porras in trouble. Hucklock gets him out of it. Right near midfield. Bruce Green made the stop with help from Bernie Morrison.
Once again, see, the key on this drive is Porras is getting good yardage on first down. The last play, the running play to Johnny Jones, he got about 6. Now he's going to get 7 just dumping the ball off to Dan Hucklock. They've reestablished that field position, so now they're out to midfield and can kind of go to anything they want in their offense.
This is 2nd and 3. Johnny Jones. Where are they going to spot it, Leaf?
Well, they're going to be short. They're short by about a half a yard, John.
Request for a measure. Jones has 92 yards on 8 carries.
They have to get to about the Calgary 52 or so. So there it is, about half a yard short.
You got to go.
Oh, no question about it. That's not even a decision.
Stapler goes out.
With that big offensive line, if you can't get a half a yard against that small Calgary defensive line, you're in trouble.
They bring in a few of the big guys and send out the wide receivers for a 3rd down gamble. Less than a yard. Wasn't easy, but they get the first down. Jones has it. Bernie Morrison led the Stampeder tacklers.
Well, you know, that's the guy that has to make the play in short yardage, that middle linebacker. You have all your linemen try and get down as low as they can and penetrate through, and then, of course, the middle linebacker scrape over the top. Bernie Morrison got in there initially, but he just couldn't hold
There was a
Johnny
little
Jones.
hesitation,
Yeah.
but Jones had momentum carry him for it. It is a first down for the Tiger Cats. Calgary 51. Porras fires quickly. DiPietro. And he's close to a first down. Ron Hopkins forced him out.
Well, that's why they like to have him back in the lineup. You know, he's a great intermediate receiver. You don't see him catch too many long bombs, and of course
He's
he won't.
not deep that often.
No, he won't. Not with the other 3 speedsters in the lineup. But what he is tremendously dependable in that 12 to 15 yard range.
2nd down, 1 to go. Ticats now at the Calgary 42. Johnny Jones again, plenty for the first down. He's almost to the 35.
It's an interesting short yardage play where they pull the guard and fill with the fullback on that defensive tackle and then kick out with the pulling guard. And number 67, Ralph Schultz, will kick out. Watch how Dan Hucklock fills that hole. Ralph Schultz kicks out. They get a good running lane in short yardage for Johnny Jones.
He's had a good day.
He's not too fancy a running back. He's a pretty straightforward kind of guy when he runs with the football. Not a lot of dips and doodles, but he has done the job, as you see, averaging 10 yards a carry.
On first down from the 37, it is Jones again on the receiving end this time. He's to the 29.
Good matchup on Matt Finley, number 37. You get that ball to Johnny Jones quickly out in the flat to give him a chance to run with it. Once again on first down, they get excellent yardage.
13 seconds left, 3rd quarter, Leach.
You know, it really becomes the key for any club on their offense is how well do we perform on first down. That'll kind of tell you how successful they are. Here they get 7 yards once again.
Johnny Jones once more. And he'll have the first down. The Tiger Cats finally on a march. They've got a long way to come back as they trail the Stampeders by 15.
Saturday, October 3rd, TSN
86. He wanted to sit around and chat with the media yesterday at his news conference. I guess he hasn't been talking to his players that much lately. He's been a little angry. Ticats in possession to come up with something here, but Goldsmith is through on Porras.
Well, I don't blame Al Bruno for being mad. You know, that's the kind of thing that shouldn't happen. You've only got a 4-man rush. You got 5 offensive linemen, and they turn Goldsmith free. Now, Miles Gorell's on the left side, and he just doesn't block anybody.
It was an easy ride through for Goldsmith.
Well, I mean, those are the kind of things that lose football games for you. Here you're driving for some much-needed points, and now all of a sudden you're second and 20-odd yards.
At the 33, Porras needs a big play here. Has to get outside. Loses yards. Eugene Beliveau chased down the Ticat quarterback that time. Well, in total yards, there is not a great deal of difference, or in first downs in one sense, but in net yards, the Calgary Stampeders have 308, 215 for the Tiger Cats. On the scoreboard, it reads 20-5. Calgary. Osbaldiston has missed 2 in a row.
Oh, John, when you look back at games, you always look at the team that beats themselves, and at this point in time, it's Hamilton. Calgary has not given up the crucial turnover.
He gets one. So that'll silence the Bernie fans out there for a moment or two anyway.
No, listen, you know, I was saying Bernie, and fooling around a little bit, but there's no question in my mind that Paul Osbaldiston is an excellent field goal kicker and will have no problem fitting in with this club.
It is now a 12-point advantage for the Stampeders, and a little rain falling at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. People scrambling for the rain gear, some umbrellas in the background. Everybody's got a hat. .13:51 to play fourth quarter. Stampeders have surprised a little bit. They have moved the football, not very much here in the fourth quarter, in the third quarter. Osbaldiston to kick off. Deep for the Stampeders. Kirby Warren, 25.
Well, a trick for the Stampeders now, I just touched on that, is to, you know, try and play error-free football. You know, it doesn't matter if you drive down long drives every time you have the football offensively, but just don't really make any mistakes that can beat yourself. You've only got an 11-point lead now, or 12-point lead rather. You don't want to make it easy.
Kirby Warren takes it and bobbles it. He's lucky to get it back. No return. So let's see if the Tiger Cat defense can come up with a big stand here and get the football back and drive in for a touchdown. They have yet to get to the end zone. It has been all Paul Osbaldiston for the 8 points. 2 field goals, 2 misses. Stampeders begin at the 24 with a first down. The numbers on Rick Worman. He slipped a little bit in the second half. Kirby Warren and the Tiger Cat defense on the left side comes up top.
Well, the crowd's getting into this game a little bit, and they're really trying to cheer on that defense to toughen up and tighten up. They're only down by 12. They got to get the ball back in a hurry for that offense, and they do a good job along the left side of that defensive front. They get some penetration, really no room for Kirby Warren to run. How about Mike Walker chases it down from behind? That's good, solid defense.
Forced him right into Leo Ezerins. This is 2nd and 9. Warman looks long for Tolbert. He's got it. Or Willis, rather. Larry Willis.
Oh, he's going to score? No problem.
Right down the sidelines, and Willis carries in for a big touchdown. An 85-yard pass and run play. Warman to Willis. In front of Kerry Parker. So just when the Tiger Cats had things going a little bit, Warman pulls one out of the bag and goes long to Larry Willis.
What a beautiful pass this was. You know, he just put so much air time under this football, a lot of rainbow time on it, and Larry Willis able to outrun Kerry Parker, stay in bounds, and that's just a super pass. Great catch, and you know, not too much to the pattern, just a run by him, but what a throw by Rick Warman.
85-yard touchdown.
Yeah, it's been a difference. Calgary does not have fabulous statistics today, but they have made the plays on offense.
J.T. Hay has not missed a convert this season or for the past 9. That record remains intact. On the scoreboard, the Stampeders lead the Tiger Cats 27-8. Big play there. Warman to Willis. Riverwind Stadium in Hamilton right now, and it is not making the fans in the stands any more enthusiastic about this football afternoon for their Tiger Cats. There's a guy who's had a pretty good afternoon. Larry Willis, 3 catches, 144 yards, and a couple of touchdowns.
Well, he's averaging 17.7 a catch, and you know, he's made some big plays, but that's a huge play right there. Here you're second and long, and you're deep in your own territory. Now you come out of it with a touchdown, and Larry Willis has been the guy that's just done that all season for them. Big touchdown against the Edmonton Eskimos, pass and run, and of course the heartbreaker in Saskatchewan on the opening game. And if you have one guy in your team that can keep coming up with those big plays, what a lift it is for everybody else. Last year was Ray Alexander for them, and now Larry Willis has been able to do it in 87.
86 yards in 2 plays. Less than a minute and a half to score the touchdown. 12:27 remain. There is time for the Tiger Cats, but they're in deep trouble now. J.T. Hay to kick off. And deep for the Tiger Cats, Winfield. And Jones. This is Johnny Jones. Out to the 40. Stopped by Darcy Kopp. Tiger Cats with Tom Porras at the controls have to get going now. Steve Stapler to the near side. Porras fires, has a strike. Midfield. Hopkins covering on Tony Champion.
Well, the Champion's run some nice pass patterns this afternoon. He's run the out, the fly pattern, post corner, and that time a hook. And Tom Porras delivers a strike perfectly into the hole. And Tony Champion's, what a super disciplined receiver he is.
First down, Tiger Cats. Stampeder 53. To the other side for Stapler. And another first down. In front of Chris Major that time.
Tom Porras with the strong arm. You throw the out to the wide side of the field. And, you know, to pick up 12, 13 yards, you got to throw that ball about 40.
At the 41 of the Stampeders. First and 10, Tiger Cats. 2 strikes in a row for Tom Porras. Not that time.
That's tough pass to complete. You know, you roll the corner up that time, Chris Major, and then you pick up the wide receiver deep with your inside safety, Larry Hogue. Now, as soon as the wide receiver clears that first corner, you want to throw it to him as quick as you can, but there's not a heck of a lot of room, and Calgary defense that thing perfectly.
Second and 10. Stampeder 41. Early pressure on Porras, and now here comes more. Fired that one into the turf for Jacques Chapdelaine. Larry Hogue covering.
Well, had he caught that, he would have been way short anyway. You know, Calgary, for the most part, has had pretty good coverage on those Hamilton receivers. Tony Champion has had a good day, but nobody else has really hurt them badly. And once again, pretty good pressure by that Stampeder front four.
27-8 the score. 10:51 to play, 4th quarter. Osbaldiston hit the last one. This from a greater distance. At the 48. Well out the mark. And it would have been short. Stamps will gladly give up a point for field position. Add one more to the Tiger Cat total. They still haven't found the end zone. Tough day for Paul Osbaldiston. Kuharich. So far, the Stampeders in a 27-9 lead. They have scored in every quarter, and they have scored substantially, where the Tiger Cats have picked up 3 in the second, 2 in the third, and 4 in the fourth. 9 points in total.
Well, you know, if the Calgary Stampeders hang on to win this game, they'll improve their record to 6-7. And I think if you'd asked somebody about 5 weeks ago how the Stampeders would fare the rest of the season, you would never have guessed this turnaround.
They won 4 of their last 5. 3 of 4 for new head coach Larry Kuharich. Kirby Warren, maybe a couple. Nice guy, very businesslike head coach.
Well, he is. I mean, there was a few areas on the club that he wanted to strengthen when he took over as head coach. One was certainly that offensive line. He said, I've got to give my quarterbacks more time to throw. They've done a much better job in their last few games. And, you know, Rick Warman, although the statistics have not been brilliant this afternoon, he certainly got the job done for him.
He's had time, just 1 sack.
Yeah.
Tolbert. And should have a first down at the 50. Ed Gedabakis.
Well, that's the thing that Rick Warman would like to do now, and throw a safe pass like that to Tolbert, that quick look in, and protect against the turnovers, and yet keep the clock going and try and put a few first downs together, establish your field position.
Tolbert is just short. Less than a yard to go. The Tiger Cats in a little difficulty here. The Stampeders would be content to run a little time off the clock. 9:32 remaining fourth quarter.
Well, John, even though they're just a few inches away from a first down, they're going to punt the football away with Glenn Harper, not taking any chances. You know, you've got your opponent down by 18 points, and you've got a chance to really bury them deep in their own territory. I think it's a pretty good call.
Harper across the 40 to get it away. Big charge that time from Les Brown. He didn't get there. Earl Winfield brought down by Laird, 75.
Boy, he is slow getting that football off, though, isn't he?
They might get to him before it's over.
Well, I haven't tried to go after one yet today. More content to set up the return for Alvin Bailey and Earl Winfield. But Glenn Harper all this season, I remember we did a game earlier in the year, and I believe it was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Actually, the BC Lions blocked a couple of punts on him. And,
seems to take 3 strides here.
Well, there's 1, 2, and he's a 3-step punter. Now, there's no problem with that. Most of the guys in pro football are 3-step kickers, but he just seems to be a little slow from the hands by the time it leaves his hands down to kicking. And I'm surprised Hamilton hasn't gone after him a little more today.
First down, Tiger Cats from the 19. Not much is going right.
The ball carrier.
Glenn Harper from Washington State.
Coleman makes the tackle.
4th in the CFL in punting as a rookie.
There's no question when he gets his foot into one, you know, he can really let them fly, but I think he's just got to speed that rhythm up a touch, and I don't think it'll affect his punting.
The Cats lose 3. This is 2nd and 13 from the Hamilton 16. Swung out to Jones, and he loses yardage. Back to the 10. Richie Hall. Good tackle.
Hall makes the tackle.
Nothing is going right for the Tiger Cats.
You know, you keep waiting for something to happen, and really it just...
This is a better football team than we've seen, isn't it?
Well, you think so. I mean, personnel-wise, there's no question they have the horses to win some football games, but today they just have not been able to get on track.
Osbaldiston deep. Up 4 yards deep in the end zone. Charging at Larry Willis. He lost it. Stampeders content to let it trickle out of bounds.
Boy, Andy McVeigh almost got to that punt by Paul Osbaldiston down the end zone.
Willis slipped on the slippery turf. It had it bounce around him. 27-9. The Stampeders on the verge of upsetting the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 8:02 remain. Fourth quarter. TSN Game of the Week. And the Stampeders have stolen the show at Iverwin Stadium. Fourth quarter. And there's a bit of a mystery man in the Stampeder organization. He was the Calgary first-round draft pick in 1985, 6'7", 270. And he hasn't seen a lot of CFL action. Injury was a problem in his first year, but
well, he chose to spurn the Calgary Stampeders last year and go to the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFL and try and catch on with that team. He couldn't make it. And when he came back to Calgary, I really think that Earl Lunsford and Bob Vespasiani decided that they were going to teach this guy a lesson, and he wasn't going to play. And he went on the injured list and said he wasn't hurt. So he is back, and he's had some playing time for Larry Kuharich this year.
Played 4 games since Kuharich took over. From the 47, Stampeders in good field position for a first down. 7:50 remaining. Fourth quarter. Kirby Warren nowhere to go. Actually slipped before he headed toward the line of scrimmage. He hadn't made his cut. And Rod Skillman was there, 59 for the Tiger Cats.
Well, you know, this is what the Stampeders would like to do at this stage. Even though they're not making first downs, they definitely have the advantage in field position. And, you know, once again, if they do not make a first down, Harper should be able to kick the ball and pin Hamilton deep, make it a long field for them.
2nd and 13, Calgary. Ball right at the 50 of the Tiger Cats. Warman will throw. No, he'll run. And lots of running room for Warman and a first down. Slides safe at the 35, and that's a pickup of better than 14, enough for the first down.
A tremendous play for Rick Warman. You know, you like to keep the clock going. You like to get first downs, and for him to be able to run the football in this stage of the game was just an added plus for them, and it's probably something that Rick Johnson couldn't give him, although Rick Johnson, all-Canadian. This is the one feature that Rick Warman will help this ball club with.
Stampeders continue on the march now with a first down. 6:36 to play, fourth quarter. And they're at the Tiger Cat 34. Oh, big hits on Warren that time by Alvin Bailey, number 29.
Now that looked like a big hit, but I kind of think as Kirby Warren was turning the corner there with that slippery field, he might have slipped down a little bit, but still looks pretty good. Spallettini out pulling, Andy McVeigh out in front, but Alvin Bailey slides in underneath and makes pretty good tackle.
I thought he got him pretty good.
Well, not bad, but I think he slipped too. You know, those look a little harder than they really are.
2nd and 16 facing the Stampeders now at the Ticat 40. Intended for Willis, a little high. And tempers flaring down there. Spivey is in the middle of it. .5:45 to play, fourth quarter.
Well, Hamilton has to be frustrated. Usually defensively we talk that they are able to make something happen, and you know, they're just a little frustrated at this stage.
I think they're a lot frustrated at this stage. 27-9 on the scoreboard. Stampeders in front. J.T. Hay. Ball will be spotted at the 46. And it's through. 46-yard field goal for J.T. Hay. Round off those Calgary numbers to 30 at 21-point lead on the Tiger Cats.
Oh, they're full measure for it. You know, every chance they've had an opportunity to score some points this afternoon. It seems like the Stampeders have come through with the field goal or the touchdown, and they're full measure for their 30-9 lead.
Next for the Calgary Stampeders, the Rough Riders at home at McMahon Stadium next week. And the Tiger Cats move on to face the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg.
Well, if they hold on and win this game here today and pick up the 2 points, you know, of course, they're going to have 12 points, 6 and 7 on the season, and they could really bury Saskatchewan next week.
Might as well have dropped it. It didn't really matter. He was behind the line of scrimmage. He would have lost yards by making the catch, Mr. Jones.
It's funny. I think Al Bruno really has to take a look at his excuse me, ball club after this game and try and figure out why in the world would they come out flat today and only be able to score 9 points.
Picked out, intended for Winfield, and this is Bernie Morrison. Not exactly a speedster, but he gets inside the 15.
That's great play by your middle linebacker. He drifted deep downfield. I bet you that ball was 25 yards downfield when the middle linebacker, Bernie Morrison, made that interception. That's his second on the year. The leading tackler is coming up with the interceptions, and, well, you can't ask for anything more. A 10-year veteran from the University of Manitoba. Look how he steps in front of Earl Winfield, makes the catch, and brings it back 39 yards to boot.
A flag was down.
Well, apparently Calgary Stampeders were penalized and they roughing the passer, so that interception does not stand. That's a break.
First down, Tiger Cats. They get a break. Johnny Jones. 5 yards. Stopped by Larry Hogue.
Well, what a huge break that was to get the football back. They've still got a long way to go. Need 3 converted touchdowns to tie it.
30-9.
Al Bruno does not look too happy, and I don't blame him. They have not played as well as he expected they would after 2 losses in a row to the Toronto Argonauts.
Forrest on 2nd and 5. Put that one into the dirt. Winfield was the intended receiver. So on 3rd and 5, the Tiger Cats. Look like they may go gunning on this one, and they will. Huckluck comes in.
Well, they've got no choice. They have to.
Flags all over the place. The Tiger Cats fouled up the play. Procedure call.
Hamilton, number 8.
Forrest messed up.
Now, did they blow the whistle before the play started? No, I don't think so.
So it is 3rd and 10.
I guess they must have, or Calgary would have declined and take the football.
3:38 to play, 4th quarter. It is the Stampeders in a very quiet Iverwin Stadium with the lead 30-9.
Well,
21 points.
They haven't had a great deal to cheer about this afternoon.
Forrest needs a first down. Doesn't get it. Picked up by Hogue out of bounds. He held on to the football, but they rule it no interception, which is just as well.
John, I'll tell you, I don't care who Hamilton's playing next week. I'm not picking them.
Well, you're 1 out of 2 so far.
That's right.
And later today, you have a pretty good chance of being
We got BC
2 out of 3.
in Saskatchewan later this afternoon. And of course, I went with the BC Lions. Who wouldn't?
Hamilton's turned it over 4 times at critical stages of the football game. The Stampeders twice.
In the first half, those 2 interceptions by Chris Major were really the story.
Warman, far side, has Emmanuel Tolbert.
Foreman's pass complete to Emmanuel.
And that's good for a first down in front of Howard Fields, number 16 for the Tiger Cats.
For the most part, the Calgary execution really has been pretty good this afternoon. They run a little play action and hit Emmanuel Tolbert. Just pretty football.
Stampeders lead it 30-9. 3 minutes to go. Fans' game of the week has belonged to the Calgary Stampeders pretty well from start to almost the finish. 3 minutes remain. Warman has done the job. Not spectacularly, but he has moved the football and he has made it to the end zone.
You know what, though? I mean, that pass that he threw to Larry Willis,
That
a
wasn't
long
bad.
85-yard touchdown pass. I mean, he just put such great touch on that. And
I should have maybe rephrased that in one sense, that I mean, he has not got the big numbers up on the board in one area, but he hasn't been in a great deal of trouble.
no, protection-wise, he's been very good. And you know, the trick in any professional football league is not to beat yourself. And of course, that's what the Stampeders have done today. They haven't given up a critical turnover, which really plagued them in the early part of 1987.
Calgary with a first down, threatening once more inside the Tiger Cat 30 at about the 29 and a half. Foreman plays it back over the middle. Andy McVeigh has it up for the first down.
Well, they're just really doing anything they want to the Hamilton defense now. You roll out and you delay it back across the middle, and you know, I suspect it's really taking advantage of Ben Zambiasi not being in that middle. You know, when he's in there, he makes some heads roll, and some guys really look around to see what's happening. And there's Ben sitting in the dugout and got the hamstring injury, hopes to be back for their next game. But I think that's really been a major difference in this game, not having him in there.
Stampeders from the 11 with a first down. Foreman looks to the end zone. It is picked off. Leo Ezerins. A touchdown saving interception for the Tiger Cats. That'll keep it a little more respectable for Al Bruno.
Well, that's Ben Zambiasi's replacement in there today. Leo Ezrin's number 72. The big guy, 6'5", 230. But really, I think that's a foreign spot for him to play. And although Leo's done his best, I think that's really hurt him, having him in the middle. That's a good catch.
Played a little middle linebacker when he was with the Blue Bombers.
Yeah, he had some experience there. Of course, he played some tight end when he originally came up from Whitworth, so not surprising that he can make that one-hander.
And an all-star in '86. Tiger Cats begin from their 8. Porras as Steve Stapler. Larry Hogue on the tackle. 2:06 to play. 30-9. Stampeders have this one pretty well wrapped up.
Now, what do you think about the Ticats? How do you figure this out? I mean, I can't, for the life of me, can't figure out how they can come out flat in a game like this.
They were flat in a couple of games against the Argonauts as well, and that has been their story this year. They won 5 in a row at one stage. Jacques Chapdelaine.
You got a lot of veterans on this club, and you know, you've been around for a long time. Sometimes you can get a little complacent. I'm not suggesting that's their problem, but sometimes you need a few new guys in here to just change the mood of the team a little bit and create some new enthusiasm, some excitement.
Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig.
First down, Tiger Cats, the 21-yard line. 1:41 to play, fourth quarter. Jones makes the catch, but not much yardage. In fact, he likely lost a yard or two. Matt Finley, 37 for the Stampeders. Got to Jones right away.
The Stampeders are happy to have the Hamilton Ticats just dump it off to the running backs, keep them in bounds, let that clock run. There it starts up again, and really they've got nothing to worry about. They got the 21-point lead. Hamilton's on their own 20.
And the clock reads 1:22. On 2nd and 11. Porras for Winfield. He makes the catch. He should score. Maybe not. Long way to go. He's running out of room. Winfield gets it down to the 10. Chris Major coming across to make the tackle. He had a bit of an angle on Winfield. Winfield had a lot of room, but Major had the angle. An 82-yard reception for Earl Winfield. Something in the dying moments for Ticat fans to cheer about.
Well, Porras hits Winfield down the seam in the zone coverage, and Ronnie Hopkins just couldn't get over there quick enough to make the play. And Earl Winfield's in a foot race with Chris Major, and Major wins that one.
First and goal to go. Tiger Cats at the Stampeder 9. 57 seconds on the clock. The end zone, and Champion can't get to it.
Ronnie Hopkins got that hand up just at the last second to either distract or deflect the football. It's kind of been the story for the Ticats, though. In their last loss to the Argonauts, they were really out of it in the fourth quarter. Came back with a couple of touchdowns late to make it respectable.
Stampeders were offside, so with 49 seconds, the Tiger Cats have a shot from the 4 and a first down. For the Tiger Cats, this touchdown, if they can get it, will only improve the final score sheet. Corus stops. Or did he make it? He makes the touchdown.
Well, they signal touchdown. Boy, he got
a little late.
About a centimeter if he made it.
At last, the Tiger Cats get to the end zone. 44 seconds remain. 30-15.
Well, now they have to take a timeout because they're not sure whether they wanted to go for 2 or the 1. So they waste the timeout. Not that I think it's really going to make much difference with only 44 seconds left. You know, you take single point here, you trail by 3 converted touchdowns. You make your choice if you score 2 more times. Then you make your choice.
To go for the win.
Sure.
But the win is a little...
I don't think it's much of a choice
shot
now.
No.
Although they're going to go for 2.
(30-15) Stampeders in front of the Tiger Cats. Later today, the BC Lions and the Rough Riders. And that'll wrap up week 14 in the CFL. Last night, the Blue Bombers assured themselves of a playoff spot with a win over Ottawa. 2-point conversion is good. A flag goes down. Champion made the catch.
He made a nice catch on that post pattern, too.
Forward pass interference, Hamilton 23.
Well, they ran a pick. Rocky DiPietro and Tony Champion, and they caught Rocky. Champion coming underneath. And, you know, the officials, I think, in the last couple of years are really starting to look for those. Comes back out to the 15-yard line now. I think you kick the convert, don't you? But they're not going to.
I would think you'd take the single for what it's really going to mean to the end of the football game at 44 seconds left. They're going for 2. Jump shot the lane. Makes it anyway.
Well, he ran a nice pattern on Larry Hogue. That was super pass pattern. You know, Al Bruno said this guy could be starting. We just can't find a place for him right now. But he really ran a nice out pattern. Good throw by Tom Porras.
30-17.
Only 13 points behind now. That's good throw. It's good throw and catch right there. That's good pass pattern. No question, it's onside kick time, and Calgary, of course, will counteract that with a team that they will call the hands team. They'll put about 10 guys up there, up on the front line that are used to handling the football, anticipating that short kick by Paul Osbaldiston.
There's the scoring drive, 102 yards in 5 plays. Earl Winfield accounting for most of that.
That's the thing, you know, like Ticats lost last week in Toronto, and statistically they look pretty good. You know, if nobody told you to score and you just saw the statistics, you think, heck, this was a close game. But this week it's going to be the same thing. Good statistics, but they're going to come up on the short end.
Short kickoff. Stampeders have the football. Chris Major, I think, number 20.
I always like that one where they chip it up high in the air, and now you just
take it on the run down the sideline.
Well, you just make it jump ball, and then you have a chance to knock it out of bounds or whatever, and you kick it on the ground, and you're just hoping for a lucky bounce.
Flag is down.
Marker on the play. The Tiger Cats offline. The penalty was declined.
Tiger Cats offside. Of course, Calgary will decline that. Take the football and run the game out. 30-17 Stampeders.
Calgary about to lock up their 6th win of 1987. New quarterback in the game, Carl Fodor has a strike to Larry Willis.
Carl Fodor's pass.
That's his 2nd completion.
To Larry Willis.
The CFL.
Came in at a blazing 12% completion.
Well, get him in and let him play a little bit, I guess.
I think it's a good
He
move.
may see some duty before the year is out with Johnson out. And
I think it's a smart move.
33 seconds left.
Of course, you know, some people will say, well, they got the game in hand. Why are they throwing the football? It's kind of showing up your opponent. But, you know, in this case, here's a young guy that has had no playing time, and he wants to see if he can compete against some of these players and throw a few passes and get some success out there. And I don't really blame him one bit.
He went for the home run ball to Tolbert there. 27 seconds left. Stampeders have dominated throughout.
Rick, of course, happy with the results today. Not happy that he will not be in the lineup.
Second and 10, Calgary. Ticat 37. Carl Fodor at quarterback. Kirby Warren. Wastes a couple more with 23 seconds left. Leo Ezerin's on the tackle. Well, it doesn't get easier for the Tiger Cats next week as they take on the Bombers in Winnipeg. And the Stampeders can put a little distance between themselves and the Saskatchewan Roughriders as they take on Saskatchewan in Calgary. 14, and it ticks down from there. J.T. Hay will try a field goal from 41 yards out. This should be the last play of the football game. Hay is good. And unofficially, zeros are up on the scoreboard clock. Well, Leaf, the Stampeders surprised a few people today.
Well, John, I was impressed with the Calgary Stampeders and head coach Larry Kuharich as he talks to some of the Hamilton players. But, you know, they had a solid game plan. They decided early they were going to take advantage of the middle linebacker, Leo Ezrin. They did that with Gary Allen. Rick Warman, he made the pass plays when he had to. Some of the plays were not pretty, but when he had to, he hit Larry Willis for a couple of touchdowns. And, boy, you have to be impressed with Larry Kuharich, the job that he's done to turn this team around.
For the Tiger Cats, that's 3 losses in a row, and they'll remain 3rd in the Eastern Division of the CFL as the record slips to 6 wins, 6 losses.